I'm delighted to introduce myself as the Reform parliamentary candidate for Guildford. Like many people, I've been increasingly concerned and worried by the direction that our country appears to be taking. I've never been a politician, but I find myself disillusioned and exasperated by a political working class that no longer respects the wishes, the concerns and the values of the ordinary people they're supposed to represent. I mean, sadly perhaps I say I'm an ex-Conservative, but I didn't leave the Tories left me. They simply no longer value and respect the culture, the way of life and the traditions that we hold dear. They've just become a quasi-Blairite party now. I'm standing for everyone who can no longer bear the imposition of the same daft and frankly woke policies coming through traditional parties. Funny enough, diversity of opinion is the only type of diversity that isn't even tolerated. It's mad. You know, Westminster's just become a kind of a uni-party of politicians, all in the three main parties, and many of whom haven't even experienced life outside of their own bubble. And for instance, if you dare to say or even think that migration figures of 1.5 million people over the last 2 years might not be helpful regarding access to housing, the NHS, then you'll be labelled a far-right racist and a bigot, which I have been. Personally, in my business, I employed every racial, sexual orientation, colour, everything kind of person. And I'm no racist and I'm no bigot. But Reform UK is the only party that will stop the boats by leaving the ECHR, and that we will train workers, our own workers, into business if they're medically and mentally able to cope. And we're going to raise the income tax threshold to 20 grand. That means you're not going to be paying tax. The lower paid aren't going to be paying tax up to 20 grand. The Labour Party are now more concerned with implementing the globalist control by big international corporations. They once stood proudly for the British working class, but they're now more concerned with everybody else other than the British working man. In fact, they characterise the British working man as the problem. With equal zeal, they promote the media telling people, us, what we should think. And we get the same thing from educational and government institutions. And as for the Liberals, well, they're even more woke than the others put together. I mean, this lack of representation is having an increasing adverse effect on our daily lives. And to be honest, we know most people don't even trust politicians anymore. None of us do. But we in Reform will connect with ordinary people. And we want to reform this current political machine with non-professional politicians, because we understand what ordinary people feel and how it impacts us. So I would say, vote for what you believe in, vote for Reform UK.